I can record. Yeah, it's recording.
Okay, thanks. All right. So we're going to start from this. What we have set up, for those of you that weren't here when we set this up, we just have the home screen. I think that's, yeah. We just have the home screen and this header. And this is our body right now. And our footer's somewhere in there. We're only showing up one page. We're going to make this stuff look a lot nicer today. And we're also going to add in the actual pages for about, calendar, and videos. So let's just do that real quick. Right, so the way that we do that, videos, and let's do about first. Well, actually, I'm just going to do that real quick so we know all the routes work. And videos. This might not work without a cool. Okay, so we have all of our pages, and you get to home by clicking this guy. So it's just the same code. You just copy and paste it and change the function names, the routes, and the file it's pointing to. And we're going to do that for all of the routes. So let's make the site look a little less sucky. Let's go on to Google Fonts and pick out a font. The one that I'm going to choose, probably Roboto. There's a lot of good ones. Open Sans. I think Roboto is the one that Android uses. It's the Android font.
The Apple font.
It is that. It's the Apple font.
I said do the Apple font. Android.
What is the Apple font?
No idea.
Well, I got useless.
Thank you.
So we're just gonna do regular. Oh wait, and where's bold? Bold. And we just copy this embed link. And we could paste it in our header. Right there. So it's another style sheet, just Google style sheet. And yeah, I actually use Google Fonts for a lot of things. It's just a CDN that has all the fonts just ready for you. And then in our styles.css, we're going to add font family. And these are going to be all the fonts. So Roboto, that's our first choice. And you put a comma and then put like a second choice. So second choice, we don't have a lot to choose from because so Roboto is the one that we've pulled in with the CSS. Arial, Helvetica, and Sans Serif, we're just assuming they're on the system. We haven't pulled them in from anywhere explicitly. So if we refresh that, we should see it's all sans serif, and this is how Roboto looks. So now the next thing we're going to fix is how cramped everything looks. Like just the text being stuffed in the corner here and not having a lot of space over here. We're going to fix that real quick. So in the header, what we're going to do is we're going to add some padding, 5 pixels, 20 pixels. So the way padding works, you could specify 4 values. And I think this is what left, up, right, down. There's an order to it, obviously. But then if you specify 2 values, this is up, down, and this is left, right. And if you specify 1 value, that's for everything. And I messed around with it for a bit, but I think this looks the best. And remember, when you're refreshing, you have to like clear the cache. So hold Shift and hit refresh, and that should refresh with everything. So I gave it 20 pixels of space on the left and the right, and you could actually see this if you pull up. Remember that shortcut to pull up the DevTools is Option Command J, or if you're on Mac, or Control Shift J on Windows. If we look at header, that's that's so weird. Okay, so it's this, and you can see that the padding is right there. It's like in yellow. That's like really light green mixed with the red. Makes that weird color. So that's what that looks like. And the next thing we're going to do is make this. We should add like another. What we should do? We should add like a class that could be used for like the main element on any screen, and we could make it like smaller, just as a general rule, just so everything isn't always pushed to the left side or the right side or anything. So for the home, we're going to add a div class equals, I'm just going to call this content box. I do something like that, this for like every site I make, where I just have a thing called content box. And remember, for styling, we do a dot for classes, so content box. For this, we're going to set the width to 90 VW, and VW stands for viewport width. You could have just as easily done 90%, like VW. They're kind of the same measure, except when the viewport is different. And I don't know a whole lot about viewports and stuff, but I know that VW is the screen, and percent is just kind of a relative percent thing. Whoops, 90 VW. So if you refresh, see that nothing actually changes. And that's because it's 90% width, but the other 10% is all on the right. So what we want to do to fix that, we're going to do margin 0 auto. And that fixes it so it's split up 5% on the right and 5% on the left. And that's just the way auto works. And remember, this is the same as like 0, what is it? Is it that? Yeah, it's the same as 0 auto, 0 auto. And what happens if we have like auto for all of them? Nothing. That's because the height of it is only based on the content. So yeah, we're going to add that to the CSS. Margin 0 auto. So yeah, and then you have to clear the cache. It does that. And I kind of messed up. Like we created all these other pages before making the content box. I didn't realize I didn't have that. Div class equals content. Yeah, does anyone have any questions about what we did? Because we kind of did a lot of kind of unrelated things all at once. We added in the extra pages.
Can you go back to main.py really quick?
Yeah. So in main.py, we just copied these 3 lines and we changed the routes to about, calendar, and videos. And we changed the function names also to about, calendar, videos. It's important that the function names aren't the same. Otherwise, Python is going to complain. And we changed the render templates to home, about, calendar, videos. And we made these files home, about, calendar, videos.
I got it. Thank you.
Yep. Any other questions?
Can I see the CSS just for like a second?
CSS. Yeah. What we added here, we added this to the header. We added this to the HTML and body. And this element font family is inherited. I mean, like everything is inherited in HTML. So everything inside of HTML and inside of body is going to have this font family unless we override it at a lower level, but we don't. So the default fonts are Roboto, and if you don't have Roboto, then Arial or Helvetica or sans serif. And these fallbacks will only be used if Roboto isn't found. We're using Google Fonts for that. So Google Fonts would have to be down for it to use Arial. And then we also added this padding to make this have a little bit more space. And we added this content box class. Is that what you wanted to see?
Yeah, all I needed was the word auto, but thanks for the
Oh,
thanks for the recap.
yeah. I just want to go over it, just like in case someone missed it. Anything else?
I'm getting some like errors on the main.py. I'm not quite sure what it is. I don't want to slow down too much. But
What does your error say?
Just telling me I have unexpected indent. It's something when we added the new routes.
Oh, that's just, I don't know, something's messed up with your indent. Either you indented twice,
I think I might have found it.
or you're mixing tabs and spaces or something.
Yeah. All right, I got it. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, that's another thing that sucks about Python. Python's just such a sucky language.
I think in VS Code at the bottom, you can say like tab size, and there's a way that you can like normalize your.
Oh yeah, in VS Code it's down here,
Mhm.
and then you can do Command Shift P, and then you can convert right here. Okay, what else did I want to go over? I think this was like actually most of the content. I thought this was actually going to take a lot longer to run through. Something that I did want to go over was the footer, though, because our footer is really lame. We don't have anything going on in it. So let's make a proper footer. So we're going to make a div ID as the footer. And actually, yeah, that's it. Just div with an ID of footer. And it's an ID because we're only going to have one of these on the page, and we know it's always going to be one. So in our styles, we can go over to the footer. And let's do the same thing. Just set the background color to just like a red. And since there's no content, we have to kind of specify the height manually. And we do it again. That looks pretty bad. And this is just because we don't have any content. Because this is the only thing on our page. Just the box isn't that big, so it just does the next thing, and that's the footer. But the footer should be down here. So what we can do, we can, and this is what I do on all my sites too. So if we look at the height of the header, we can actually specify this manually. It's like 30 pixels. So let's do that manually actually. Ooh. It changed to 40. Let's mess around with it. Yeah, actually like 20. Oh, by the way, if you like click on something, you can use the up and down arrow keys to change values. Kind of helpful sometimes. So since we know that this height, well, we specified it as 20, but it's not actually 20, it's 30. If we inspect it. So what we can do, I'm gonna set the content box to have a min height of 100 VH, which is the viewport height. There's VH and VW minus 30 pixels. And you have to surround this with calc because these are completely different units. This is like percent and this is pixels. But we set min height, and this is like the minimum height. So obviously you can go over it, but it can't go under it. And we only set this so that the footer is at the bottom of the page. And if we want the footer to be on the bottom, we could just do minus 130 since we set our footer to have a height of 100 pixels. It still has a scroll. But yeah, now at least it doesn't look like crap with the footer like way up here. So yeah, any questions over that? This was actually, like I said, about all I wanted to get into. Other than that, we're gonna dive in and actually make the home and about pages. So
I
guess-
also put the images for like the Code.iu club.
for about or for home?
I put it in the Slack for so we could use it if you wanted to for the about.
Oh, for the about part in like general? Ooh,
Yeah,
oh, I thought that was like when it was loading. Okay, yeah, cool. We could use this. I don't know. I'm not a designer.
You're good. I just put it there just in case.
Yeah, cool. All right, so for the homepage, we wanted to pull from the involved page. Actually, didn't. So I didn't plan this because I actually I thought it was going to go a lot slower than it actually did. So we can come up with some stuff.
Yeah, I mean, you can start filling in like what they'll have and stuff.
I also put the link to Code.iu and for the Code.iu club and be involved in the chat. Just
Right, cool. Yeah, I'm gonna need to pull from that. But let's just set up the H1 real quick. This is the main header. You should only have one per page. And I guess by default it looks like this. I think it would look better centered. Text align center. Yeah, that looks better. So you can do CSS inline with this line right here. You set style equal, and then you could just write normal CSS. So you can do text align center. I always do this because it takes, like, our CSS page gets loaded for every single page, right? So if we only use some styles on certain pages, I prefer to do inline styles, especially if it's something like really small. So yeah, it's centered. Then what's on the be involved page? Just want to copy this. These are a lot. Are these all constitution/bylaws?
Yeah, we just have to put one in there each year, and I think they just keep them all there. But they're all the same.
That's so weird. Anti-hazing. What?
SQLite browser, which is just a free application on the internet that you can use to visualize SQLite databases. So here, my password isn't encrypted right now, but I have a, this is what I did in scratch.py. So database session, add a new user object with my name, my email, and a password of 1234. Then I committed that add.
Did you call me over?
Yeah, because I can't record. We were doing game bar, but it just stops sometimes.
There you go. I think I just have to allow you to record every time.
Oh, there we go.
I gotta go back. I'm recording for front end. So this would be in the video.
The about page is pure front end. And we can do some JavaScript with that. So does anyone have any feelings about which one? JavaScript, that? None? All right, I'll do the header then. So this thing says head every time, and let's just change that to code at IU. Oh, okay. So we use Jinja as the markup language, and it kind of looks like this, and that's how you know you're starting Jinja. So, and this is a variable title. So in our main.py, I'm going to pass in something to title. I'm going to say home. Unknown tag title. Did I do that wrong? Is it this? Oh. Okay, yeah, it's my bad. Right, so Jinja is its own language. So it's got its own rules. And see, this says home now. And if we go to some other thing, I'm not sure what it's going to say. What was rendered? Nothing. Okay, so this is I should probably back up and explain it a little bit. This is the variable title. And in main.py, whenever we render a template, we could pass in any amount of variables that we want. So this is the variable name, and this would be its value. It doesn't have to be a string. It could be like a list or something. And in Jinja, there's actually loops, so you can loop over stuff. And if this was like a list of like videos or something, then we could loop over the videos and like display each video however we want. So this is how you print a value, I guess, in Jinja. Two curly brackets and the two curly brackets. And this is the variable name. So it's going to print title. We want it to do like something as a default. Like if title doesn't exist, then what's going to have up in the header? I think we're just going to say code.iu. So this should just be normal code. So if title and title. I'm actually not too sure about the semantics here. Let's say it's like this. And then else. This is normal HTML. We need our end brace for the if, and then our end brace for the else. I'm pretty sure this is how it works. No. End of statement block. Yes, sorry guys. I didn't expect that we'd get it through everything so quickly. Oh, it's just end if. Okay. Yeah, so this says code.iu since we didn't pass a title. And this says home because we did pass a title. And I'm just going to pass a title for the rest of them. Does anyone have any questions about what we did? What we wrote there wasn't HTML, it was Jinja. So we have home, about, calendar, and videos. All right. No questions?
Can you go back to the header just real quick to make sure I got it all right?
The header, you said?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of like a Python style if statement, no brackets. I usually, my templating language that I use is EJS. And they're all essentially the same thing. Anything else? Okay, nothing. All right. I guess let's do some Python then, or sorry, some JavaScript. Let's just grab minimized jQuery. This is going to be the JavaScript library that we're going to use. jQuery is really useful for doing a little more complicated things like messing with elements, adding, deleting elements. What you want is, yeah, compressed production slim build. I'll just paste that in the chat. If I can get there. Yeah, that's the link. I'm just going to copy this all and put this in static. This is going to be jQuery.min.js. And it's min.js because it's all on one line. So we grabbed the slim build, and that's missing a couple functions, but we won't need them. The biggest thing that's missing is Ajax, and that's the reason why the slim build is kind of better for modern development, because Ajax was a thing in jQuery to send an HTTP request, but we can do that now with normal JavaScript. So we don't need jQuery to do that for us.
So did you just copy and paste that in?
Yeah. This is all one line. So
Okay.
when you paste it in, it's only going to be one line.
Okay.
So then the header, we're going to do script, and this is how you import a script in HTML. jQuery.min.js. Yeah, and this is what's going to be displayed right here if they don't have JavaScript. I guess you need, well, they don't need JavaScript, I guess. So this is going to execute all of this code. It's just going to give us a function. I'm going to assume nobody here knows JavaScript, but it's cool. We're going to take it pretty easy. Okay, so for the About tab, we're just going to have like the board members and like a bit about them, I guess. Something, we're probably going to do something like this. Back in our main.py, let's just make a list of the board members. Board members, list, and we're going to make them all, well, I guess it's dictionaries here, but objects in Jinja. Name, I'm going to do me first because I'm important. We're just going to do their names right now. Then we're going to add in images, and we can show you how you can do that really easily. I'm just going to do 3 right now, the 3 that are on this call. And then we're going to pass in board members. So we made a list of dictionaries, and normally this is how you write objects in for the front end. I'm hoping this is going to be interpreted as JSON. So this would be an object with a name equals that. So this is just going to make it so we have to write less code. So like normally when we're writing everything, we'd have to write like separate HTML for every single card, every single board member. But since they're all board members, they're all going to have like the same code. We just repeat it and drop in the name. And that's what Jinja is going to allow us to do. We're going to do a loop. So I'm just going to make a div for the board members. And since we're actually programming like a couple different languages here, right? We have Python over here, HTML over here. We're going to be using Jinja for our loops for board member in board. What I call it here, I just call it board. So this is code that's going to be run every time. I have to look at this again to see what the for loops. Okay, for key in data and for. So let's just do board member dot name. Like a p tag around it. So they're on separate lines.
You forgot the B in member.
Or oh, it did. Thanks. Oh shoot, name is not defined. Ooh. I was hoping it wouldn't go like that. Oh, wait, line 7. Oh shoot. Oops. I forgot this is the correct way. You have quotes. This is a dictionary, right? So I was thinking of JavaScript, where this is actually how you'd write objects. You wouldn't have the quotes. So that's the key and that's the value, and you need quotes around both. So that's my bad there. Oh, dot name. All right, I hope that works. Yeah. All right, there you go. So now we have all of our names. Does anyone have any questions about this? Because I did make some mistakes. This is kind of an important thing to get. Well, it's not too complicated. We're just going over people's names. This is like most of front end. It's not that complicated.
Is there a way that we could like draw a box around the names?
Yeah. So let's do that. We're going to change the paragraphs to divs. And you just do a div for every like division. So we have a couple nested divs, right? We have, oh, I spelled board members wrong. Board member. I'm just going to get rid of the, ooh. Let's make some CSS for the board member. Let's have a border 1 pixel black solid. So border takes 3 arguments. Yeah, it says right here, line width, line style, and color. I think they're interchangeable. this is 1 pixel for the width. Solid, you can have dotted. There's like other ones. And then the color, so we're just gonna have black. Right, we gotta refresh the cache. And they're like that. And this is the element. It's the whole line. So that's because the default display type of divs are blocks. So we can just change that to display. Well, let's just do that for all board members. So right here, if you click here under .board members, then you're going to be changing the CSS styling for all of the class, the whole class. So that'll change all 3 of these at once. So if we do display inline block, it's going to make them like line by line. And I guess since we're here with borders, I can show you the difference between margin and padding. So if we do margin, like 20 pixels, it's going to space them all out, and the border is not going to change. But if we wanted the border, because you know the letters are really tied up against the borders, we could change that with padding 20 pixels. And now they look more like buttons. So this is a big difference between margin and padding. Padding is inside of the element, and margin is outside of the element. Okay, so I'm not sure if we want to do a border for the final thing. We probably want something though. So padding, yeah, let's just make it 5 pixels. Let's set a max width of 200 pixels, or ooh, we just set like a min width of 200 pixels. And text align center. Well, all right, doesn't look great, but it looked crappier before.
Can we put more space in between the boxes?
Yeah, if we add some margin. Pixels. 10 pixels.
If we
Something that's really cool, by the way. See how they're not exactly centered inside of this div? We could center them by doing text align center. And it'll center them because display inline block, and since they're inline block, it's the same as text. So we could use text align center to center these elements. All right, so we didn't do this like officially, so let's just copy over all the CSS we wrote. And we had this as text align center for board members. Oh, right, I didn't. Wait, I did. I forgot to refresh cache. All right, so that's almost time. Does anyone have any final questions? Anything to add? Any ideas of something cool we could do with jQuery? Because jQuery is like a really big library. We could build like a full-on checkers game with just jQuery.
That could be our game.
That could be our game, but I want to do like more of my type of game that where we use the canvas.
All right.
I mean,
yeah,
we could,
yeah.
you could still do like
would it be
checkers in
would
canvas.
it be possible to have like a guy that like walks around the screen? Maybe, I don't know. That would be cool.
I'm not an artist, so it would look like crap. But yeah. Wait, this is. Let me show you. I don't know. I just like showing off, I guess. But here's what I
Flexing.
do for like walking. This dumb little animation.
He's
just
like
get rid of the
hopping.
legs.
He's like hopping.
That's perfect.
All right. So yeah, 8 o'clock. That's pretty much all I wanted to go over and more. we're just going to finish the about page. Going to write some JavaScript. I'll put this up on the GitHub soon. The video is going to be out soon too. So yeah, if there's nothing else, that's it.
I'll stop the recording.